The English language, it's such a bugger to master, isn't it? Even for those of us that were born and bred here. Well, I weren't born here, but I was definitely bred here. I've been thinking, dangerous, I know, but I'm curious. Always have been. It's my Achilles heel. The one thing that got me into bother as a young'un. Dictionary says, adoption. The action or fact of adopting or being adopted. Example, she gave up her children for adoption. That intrigues me. The thinking behind the example. She gave up her children. Not child, but children. It sounds so casual, like putting washing out or doing the weekly shop. There were a time when I would have agreed with that way of thinking. Mothers giving up their children grist at mill. It was the way that I was brought up. The family that adopted me didn't want me to know out about my adoption. All I were told was I were abandoned because my man didn't want me. It were drummed into me over and over and over again. It were a matter of fact, mundane and inconsequential. I'm not so sure that my birth mother would have seen it like that. That's how it were done. Clean break, new start. Not a word about where I came from or how I ended up in this place. I grew up in the early 60s. The only thing that was swinging was usually me, hanging on for dear life because the local bullies had gotten hold of me. I remember one time running from one end of the town to the other with a trail of kids like a kite with a long tail. I may have been half pint sized, but boy could I run. If they caught me, they would have kicked 10 shades of shit out of me. But on this occasion, I managed to keep ahead of the bullies, taking refuge and climbing up an ancient oak tree. Beautiful it were, majestically gnarled by the weather and rolling seasons. I'm looking down at them in my tall maroon and yellow uniform like a chick boiled sweet, and they're baying for me blood. Throwing sticks and stones at me as if I were a sweet chestnut begging to be knocked down from the branch. What goes up must come down, and boy did I come down. Knocked myself out. Came to in the local hospital, broken ribs and a bobbly dazzler of a black eye. I was confused and dazed. One of the bullies came to see me, gives me a Chinese burn and tells me to keep me gob shut. Kids, eh? I didn't know how different. I just went with it. Different world then. It were Ashoka, an Indian restaurant, and me, the only two things that weren't white in the area. It would be all well and good if the kid that you adopted looked like the rest of your family, which weren't true in my case. They must have known at some point that I'd cotton on. It's the old joke, isn't it? The family with 3 kids, two spitting image of the parents. Third's ginger with freckles, no resemblance to mother or father, looks more like the milkman. Everyone's nudging and winking. Except in my case, I don't look like either of my parents. Hell, I don't even look like the milkman. I don't look like anyone. Not the butcher, the baker, or the candlestick maker. I was the odd one out. I always have been the odd one out. The school kid no one wanted to sit next to because everybody thought I had the lurgy. Even now I'm still sometimes the outsider looking in. Rhubarb and custard. Now there's a match made in heaven. Me, I'm this weird mixture of what I look like and what comes out of my mouth. The two don't naturally go together. I am too English to be Chinese and too Chinese to be English. Some combinations just don't seem to take. I wonder, did anyone stop and think before they flew me thousands of miles away from where I were born, where I were meant to grow up and grow old? They said it was the best thing for me. Granted. Hong Kong were going through a terrible time. Typhoon Wanda bullied its way through the island. Winds of up to 162 miles an hour. Hundreds, thousands killed. 20,000 locals without homes. If that wasn't enough, a deadly influenza epidemic followed, taking young, old, rich, poor, no discrimination. Rubbish piled high, and out of the rotting timbers, lifeless fingers and discoloured limbs could often be seen. Post-war refugees, people fleeing the Cultural Revolution. Hong Kong were fit to busting. Babies to a penny, left or abandoned. That were me. I were abandoned in order to be found. That's what they were called. The act of deliberately leaving a baby or a young'un in a place where they were guaranteed to be found. Me birth mother, just another one of the thousands of locals and refugees, one of the many that had precious little. She put me in a Clark's shoebox. I was found and taken to a local orphanage in Kowloon. It's not there anymore, the orphanage, that is. I was put up for adoption, photographed, given a number and circulated to various charities in the UK. The family that adopted me never met me. They just saw a picture. First time they clapped eyes on me was when I was picked up from London Airport. Showing me age now. Sorry, I've wandered off track. Perhaps that's why my man left me where she did. And we think this island's overcrowded. Being a transracially adopted person is not without its challenges, but then so does being a person of colour, being British East Asian. I should be a funder's gift, me. I'm BAME, I'm female, I'm over 50, I'm culturally displaced and linguistically disenfranchised. Don't you believe it, Flower. I tick boxes, but they aren't the boxes that other folks want ticked. Sometimes you just can't win. Joking apart, I feel like I was swindled out of the life I should have had. People keep telling me I'm better off here. Am I? I keep getting told how I should feel, that I should be eternally grateful. Why? What for? For having everything that should have been mine taken away from me? For losing my family, heritage, culture? All those little things that most people take for granted. The things that make a person, that give you a sense of cultural and racial and communal identity. All gone. All ripped away. When someone asks you a question, where do you come from? Most people don't even pause for breath before answering. They know what town, what county, what country. They are tied to a line that runs through them like words running through a stick of Blackpool rock. Nothing runs through me. I have no history, no roots. Until I was placed in the orphanage, I didn't exist. I had a Chinese name for 11 months. Then that was taken away from me, replaced with an English name and silence. I often wonder what would have happened had I been left in the orphanage in Kowloon, had I survived infancy. I wouldn't have the life that I have now, but the Hong Kong Chinese child in me died. Something else were born. Something that wasn't anything. Don't give me all this love is all that matters crap. Of course love matters. It's a stupid thing to say. Don't expect that everything will be peachy just because you brought up your Guatemalan or Asian child to be white. It ain't enough, I know. I've been there, I've done that. Being a transracial adoptee created a black hole deep inside that can never be filled. Would I give up all of this? In a heartbeat. To be able to speak my native tongue, to know who my parents, grandparents and great-grandparents were, to be able to look me mum in the eyes, or at least to know where she's buried, to know where I came from, to know who I really am. So, I'm going back to where it all began. The beginning is the end, and the end is the beginning. To where I were lost and found.